I can't be bothered to learn how to make a hoodie. Hello! Lately, my Pinterest feed has become infested with these corseted hoodies. And I love how it combines two of my favorite things, which is really interesting outfits that usually have some sort of a fantasy vibe with comfort and functionality. Some of the price tags on these hoodies, however, are a bit steeper than my typical budget. So, what better way to get past that than to make a version of my own? Now, of course, making one of these in my own style means that I get to make it however I want. So I've decided to not just do a hoodie, but also a skirt. So let me go ahead and show you what fabrics I've picked out for this. Starting off, we have this hoodie that I just bought at Ross. I can't be bothered to learn how to make a hoodie. So this is gonna be the base essentially. It's just a hoodie that I bought from Ross for $11. And then we have what is left of this purple fabric that I suppose I had used some of in the past. I don't quite recall what for. It was likely something for a Renaissance fair, but there's a chunk of it missing. There was enough, however, that I think this would do really well for the skirt. I believe it would be best to do a half circle skirt with the amount of fabric that there is left. That said, this is, I believe, a curtain material, so it is rather thin. I do have blanket material. It's definitely like cheap blanket fabric that you could find at any Walmart or fabric store or whatever, but there is probably enough of this to do an underlayer of the skirt to make it nice and warm and match the same temperature requirements of the top. Middle of the hoodie is gonna have this little pillowcase that came with a built-in zipper. Don't know if I can use that at all, but if not, it gets to go in the scraps for future projects. But it's just a little pillowcase. I think that the corset aspect of this is gonna have to be quite simple. It'll need to be an underbust corset to allow for us to have enough fabric. So let me go ahead and show you a little bit of what that's gonna look like. For this project, I decided to make a little digital sketch to act essentially as a design guide throughout the project. So enjoy. To begin, I flipped the hoodie inside out and placed it back on my dress form. I cinched a corset belt I had made last year around the hoodie to act as a guide before deciding on exactly where to place each pleat. I then used a pen to mark roughly where the seam would eventually go before removing any excess fabric. Being careful to seam rip around the zipper. Next came cutting out the corset pieces. Referring to my guide sketch, I marked which direction the lines needed to go on each piece and pinned them down. This pattern was drafted from the same corset belt I used earlier. Though I forgot to film it, I followed the same steps to make a lining layer with the excess material from the hoodie. Look at me pressing those seams like some kind of professional. Heh. Make your dreams come true. Back to me adding the pleats from before because of course I forgot to pin them. Then came pinning all the pieces together by sandwiching the hoodie between the corset and the lining. So just a quick look at what we have so far. It's all pinned together, it just needs to be sewn. Based on how hefty this is all gonna be, I think it's gonna be best for me to just hand sew it. So that's gonna take a little while. I may not see you till tomorrow, but I'm gonna get started on that. All right, see you in a minute. Here's how it's looking so far. I have flipped those layers right side around after I sewed them together. So it's looking pretty good. There's like all these little places where I tucked it in. At the moment, I've just got it pinned to the zipper so that I could make sure that it's still zipped up all the way. And it does, so that's really exciting. I'm gonna go through now, attach the ends of this to the zipper. At the moment, I'm just gonna leave the bottom of the zipper how it is. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do that with the skirt just yet. So for now, it's just gonna stay like that, but I'm gonna attach this here. I'm gonna add some boning channels and boning. I'm gonna use zip ties just like I did in the previous making video where I made the reversible corset and skirt. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that, and then from there we're gonna cut out both of the layers of fabric for the skirt. I believe I'm just gonna do a half circle. I think I should have plenty of fabric to do that. I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. I'll see you in a little bit. Here I am pinning the corset to the lining so that all the seams line up when I add the boning channels. Because this technique is the same as I used on the reversible corset, I am not going into great detail. Just channel, zip tie, and boom. For the skirt, I began laying out the fabrics and squaring them off, leaving some extra fabric where the zipper would go, since I hadn't yet decided on how I was going to attach it. Then, using string as a guide, I created a curved line to follow as I cut off the excess fabric. Alrighty, the sun went down just a little bit ago, but I want to try it on now that I've got the boning in. See how it fits, make sure that everything's good before I move on to adding the skirt. The sleeves are a little bit short for my preference. I tend to like longer sleeves, but it's fine. It'll be cute. Right. I think it fits pretty well. It's really cute. It's pretty comfortable. I'm really excited about it. Okay, time to go ahead and attach the skirt layers, hem the skirt, and then from there it will just be adding additional details. Using the same sandwich method as before, I pinned everything together and then began the long and tedious task of hand sewing once again. The zipper took me several tries to get right with exactly where to fold the fabric to hide the zipper well, but I'll spare you the trouble of watching me fail. For some final touches, I re-sewed the top of the corset by hand, right by the zipper, making it just a little less of an eyesore. And with that, we are ready for the reveal. well, now that that's complete, let's go over some of the things that I really liked about this project and some of the things that I maybe didn't. I really love how it came out overall. It's super cute, super comfortable. The gray layer underneath, I wasn't sure how I would like the feel of it, but it is super soft and comfortable, so it goes really well with the inside of the hoodie fabric, which was like this really soft fabric. I thought that I would be able to feel a big difference and that that sensation would bother me. It actually turned out to be just fine, and they're very similar. It's really comfortable, really cozy, very easy to slip on. So I'm really glad about that. I think this is something I would actually wear, if nowhere else, at least lounging around the house. The things that I care a little less about with this project, or the things that I didn't like quite as much, are first of all, the sleeves. When I stretch my arms out, they are very short. When it comes to hoodies, I typically like longer sleeves or it to just be thicker. It's a little bit different, a little bit shorter, but it's fine. It's something that I can cope with. This corset part, I think it came out really well. It tends to fit pretty decently. It is a little bit loose. Like, there's a good chunk of which that like it wiggles and slips around, which is maybe fine, probably not a big deal. I might alter that. I may add like some kind of way to lace it in the back, or just go back through and add some extra seams to tighten it a little bit. That's easily fixable if I decide to fix it, but it's not too big of a problem that I need to change it. The zipper, I think that the way I sewed the fabric covers it up decently well. The trouble is, much like zippers in just about any hoodie, is that when you move or walk, it tends to sit weird and kind of bunch. So it's mostly fine when I'm standing still or when I'm sitting, but when I'm moving and walking, it tends to sit a bit weird. I wonder if ironing it might help with that. I'm not sure, so I may try to iron it. Overall, I really love how this came out. I think it's super stinking cute. I plan to wear it quite a bit. Really excited about that. It's rare that I'll make something that I will actually wear. If this is your first video, thank you so much for tagging along. Feel free to subscribe to see more of my shenanigans. If you liked the video, like the video. I love you all so much, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.